Good morning, beautiful people. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Saturday. In today's video, I want to cover a very big week when it comes to SoFi Bank, SoFi stock. And while I believe that SoFi can actually cross the double digits potentially this coming week. And they have 5 major events in less than 5 days over the next 4 days. So while I'm having my cup of coffee, it's all good. And I'm about to break open this second Dominican mango. Shout out to my man Gabriel who got this for me. These things are so good. I wanted to cover these events. So event number 1, SoFi is going to be presenting on Monday at JP Morgan Chase. They're going to do a presentation. Anthony Noto, I'm assuming, is going to come out and speak about SoFi, about the bank, the strength of the bank, what products they have. He presented at Piper Sandler. It was absolutely amazing. This was just a couple of days ago. I covered it on my channel. And around 2 weeks ago, he actually did a beautiful presentation by the fireside with Chase. And it was a great breakdown for 30 minutes. So I'm expecting really big numbers and announcements that are essentially being reiterated, right? I think he's just going to keep pounding the table and saying, look, student loans are going to come in, home loans are going to come in, personal loans are going to keep growing. We're going to keep adding $2 billion of deposits every quarter as planned on top of the $10 billion that we have right now, yada, yada, so on and so forth. So that's what I think is going to be happening on Monday. Catalyst number 1. Tuesday, we have the CPI report, Consumer Price Index report. We are expecting inflation to go mid 4%, okay? Right now, last inflation, I believe 4.9% off the top of my head. We believe inflation is going to keep going down. And it's very important because as inflation goes down and the federal funds rate is at where it is right now, there's a huge possibility that at the end of the year, we're actually going to get a reduction of the federal funds rate. But I'll go over that a little bit more. If you want to follow the CPI report, it's in the morning, 8:30 a.m. I will be covering it on this channel in the morning. I hope you guys are definitely going to join me for another cup of coffee. So definitely a huge catalyst, especially if we beat. Wednesday, another massive day. On Wednesday, we are going to have the PPI report, which is the Producer Price Index, which is the wholesaler's inflation. So CPI is for the consumer. That's how much you and I are paying more for our coffee and for our mangoes and consequently for our water and anything else I can grab on this table. The Producer Price Index is how much it costs a producer to make one of these toys. And then the more expensive it is to make something, the more expensive it is to purchase something. So they go hand in hand. The same day as the Producer Price Index is coming out, later that day, we're going to be having the FOMC meeting. As the PPI and the CPI are going to be going down, this is going to piggyback on some really good reaffirmation of Anthony Noto speaking at the Chase presentation. The FOMC meeting right now, there is around a 75% chance that there's going to be a halt. Not a raise, not a reduction, but a halt in interest rates. If there is a halt on raising interest rates, it doesn't even have to be reduced. This is going to send the entire market up, and this is definitely going to propel SoFi to the freaking stratosphere. Why? First of all, it's extremely good news because SoFi right now is making a lot of money in personal loans. But essentially, their student loans were, 50% less than they were pre-pandemic. And they believe now that they have a $200 billion TAM, specifically that they can refinance student loans because the moratorium for being a lazy, broke bum without responsibilities is over, and you have to pay the piper. You have to pay your bills. You have to pay your student loans. So SoFi believes they can go after a $200 billion total addressable market, specifically the loans that they can go after for refinancing. But then you're left with a third part of their loans, which is their home loans. And their home loans were really sluggish because of all these high interest rates. To get a mortgage right now, people are paying close to 8%. So by stopping raising interest rates, this is going to be a midterm propellant for them. All right, in the midterm, this is going to propel them higher. Why? It's going to take 12 to 36 months to feel these interest rates go down eventually in order for that home business to go up. But that's okay, because between that 12 to 36 months, immediately in the next 3 to 36 months and on, you're going to have the student loans that should be going up. And you still have the personal loans that are doing really, really good. So personal loans, now you're going to have student loans, and after that, boom, home loans. And the market is not pricing this in yet. They will, but not yet. Specifically, the home loans is not priced in. Some student loans are. So now you can say, well, Adam, that's 4. What is the fifth? What is the fifth thing that's going to propel SoFi possibly, not saying it will or won't, possibly to $10? And the fifth thing is they are going to have their shareholders presentation on the same day, right? So that's a huge, huge day. Shareholder presentation, PPI, FOMC meeting. So they present in the morning, if I'm not mistaken, right before the PPI and definitely before the FOMC meeting, which is later that day. If everything aligns, and it's not like, oh man, it's a small possibility. There's a huge possibility it's going to align. There's a huge possibility that CPI is going to be coming down and beat expectations. There's a huge possibility that PPI is going to come down and beat expectations. There is a huge possibility that FOMC, Federal Open Market Committee, is going to halt raising rates. There is, I would say, 100% possibility that Anthony Noto is going to absolutely slam dunk the presentation for JP Morgan on Monday. And obviously, all of this is going to integrate to their shareholders presentation. And all of those things combined has the possibility to get SoFi past $10. Now, for me personally, I started buying SoFi at $5.88. I was a little bit late to the party. I was a little greedy. I wanted a pullback. The pullback never happened. So you have a few options. You can buy, you could sell, you could do nothing. I ended up buying some options for SoFi. I bought leap options. And those options are doing pretty good now, and I expect those options to do good this coming week as well. SoFi has a huge possibility of hitting $10 a share, and after the $10 a share, I think SoFi can keep going. Guys, SoFi has $10 billion in deposits. They're estimating that they're going to get an extra $2 billion in deposits every single quarter moving forward. SoFi started like $1 billion in deposits, and in a matter of 2 years, they went from 1 billion to 10 billion. It's absolutely massive. They have a lot of products, and they have exactly what people are looking for. They are the exact match for the millennials. Now, I want to say one thing. Long game of SoFi. Why nobody needs to sell SoFi. So a lot of people are like, oh, when people are going to make a lot of money, they're going to sell. Yeah, possibly a lot of people are going to sell. However, SoFi has something very interesting. As they are a bank, eventually SoFi is going to be giving you a very, very lucrative dividend as a bank, somewhere between 2 and 5% in the future. Because of that, I think a lot of people are not going to be rushing to sell their shares, even if they are profitable. Why? Why sell your shares when you know that you're going to be getting a dividend probably in the next 5 to 7 years? By 2030, they will probably institute a dividend if everything is going according to plan. And I'll tell you guys a secret. Most people don't know, but the way wealthy and rich people do it, if they have shares, not options, shares, they borrow against those shares. For example, I can borrow against my shares of stock. I can borrow up to 50% of my portfolio. So if I have $1 million, I can borrow up to 500,000 against that million. And the rate that I have, right, is an extremely, extremely good rate. I believe I have prime plus 2.5%. So while M1 Finance and Robinhood at one point were giving very, very, very nice rates of like 3% to borrow money, I was paying 2.5%. I got a beautiful, beautiful rate, which you can negotiate with your banks. So because of everything I just said, not saying people won't sell, I'm saying that there's a big possibility that people won't sell as much as other stocks because people understand that a dividend is going to come. For example, Palantir, you're not expecting a dividend. If it comes in the future, fine, but you're not expecting it. With SoFi, you are expecting a dividend. With HIMS, you're not expecting a dividend. With SoFi, you are expecting a dividend. So one of the ways that you stop people from selling is reminding them, hey, here's the proverbial carrot or mango in this case. If you want this mango, make sure not to sell, because we're going to give you a piece of the company every single quarter, 4 times a year, and many times over the next decade. Thank you so much. I'm going to go enjoy this mango because it's sweeter than you. Have a great day. And if you want to support the channel, I have a link to my Twitter down below. Please join my Twitter at Adam Bergmans with an S, MM. MM stands for Money Makers. And if you want to support this channel and you want to buy me a mango or you want to buy me a coffee, I have $3 channel membership down below. If you get anything from this channel, please feel free to become a channel member. It's $3 a month. Don't be cheap. Thank you so much. It makes me feel great. Have a great day.